Yo, you can hear me? Bro, you can't hear me? No? Nothing? Yo, your shit is bootleg, kid. There's something wrong with your shit. Oh, it says you're on. It says you got volume. You're not muted anymore. I got your volume cranked up, too. Dan. Yo, you can hear me? Bro. Yo, it's got a crazy, like, 5-minute delay.
Oh, can you hear me now?
No? Nothing? Oh, my God. The delay is like 5 minutes. Yo, your shit is bootleg, kid. There's something wrong with your shit. Oh, it says you're on. It says you got volume. You're not muted anymore. I got your volume cranked up, too. Dan.
Yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yo, you can hear me?
Perfect.
For some reason, bro, yo, it's got a crazy, like, 5-minute delay. Ah!
Oh, can you hear me now?
No, I can hear you fine. I'm not saying that. I said that 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes. Your shit is bootleg, kid. There's some shit wrong with your shit. Oh my God. Oh, it says you're on. It says you got volume. Yo, it's bugging me out. Turn it off. Let's start again. I got your volume cranked up, too. Let's start over. Shit is crazy.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes. I can. Yo. Are we good? Yo, Marcus Malarkus. Dan. Danny boy, I'm back in this. Can you hear me, kid? I think it's good now.
Testing.
1, 2, 3.
Nice.
Okay. Holy shit. Yo, could you hear it playing like overlapping or crazy?
Yeah, I heard it right at the end. I didn't know what you were talking about, or if you were talking to me, and then I heard it at the end, like shit I said 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was crazy. All right, I think we're on. It's good now. Let me turn the light on.
Okay.
I've been
Dude, I'm
trying
gonna grab a chair.
to.
Oh yeah, grab a stool.
Yeah. All right, is everybody invited into this thing right now?
Well, Kara's here, but she's with the baby, and actually we got guests over, and
Okay.
we're sitting down to dinner and soonish. And dude, I've been so crazy busy. It's the end of the year. Tomorrow's like the last day, and
Yeah.
I completely spaced on time even today until I just got out. I'm like, I looked at the watch. And I'm like,
Fuck.
my
Yeah.
mind is in a million places, my friend. I apologize profusely because I know this is, we didn't
It's
get
all
this
good.
happening 2 weeks ago.
But look, here's the thing. I had it set on my Google Calendar. It reminded me like every device I had, it started telling me a half an hour in advance. I just came down off the volcano. I came boogieing down to try to get to the meeting time. So um, it's gonna happen right now. If you got to jump off, that's all good.
I don't even have I'm so unprepared. I feel so bad. I gotta plug this in too. Hold on, this is gonna die.
Who else is on this? Jody. Jody, you on? Jody.
No. He said if you gotta jump off, it's fine. So I'm gonna just try to I don't even know what a chime is. I apologize too. We just moved, and I don't have like my singing bowl or anything like that to really start us off. But
Yeah. Yeah, well, where is everybody? I mean, this thing was supposed to happen, almost 40 minutes ago.
well, Chris, who are we missing? Jody, I just saw was on. I don't know about Leon. I never heard from him. I don't know.
I sent Jess a couple of invites.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I'll send another one right now.
I have to because my wife is, the mother of an 11-month-old, and I have to give Jess the benefit of the doubt of being a mother, that being a mother can drive your brain kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And make you forgetful of things, so...
I can't be there because one of us has to
share
do Koya.
anything.
It's all good. We got no beef.
No, we're just waiting on the rice to get done, which is pretty soon. If you want to test it, babe, that'd be great. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? We got Mercury retrograde. We got all kinds of fucking shit happening right now. It's not looking good, but maybe we can do a light informal version just to get us over the hump. There's a couple things that need to be discussed. Definitely. We can whip through, take it out. Jody keeps coming in and going. I don't know what's going on with that. Try Ryan. I got Ryan here. I didn't even know who was running this meeting. I didn't know you were running it, bro.
I wasn't sure either because it was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago, and I don't see anything other than I had put one thing on the agenda, which I'll just start with because it was on the agenda.
All right, go ahead. We're recording, so anybody else can watch this later. So go ahead. Let's get into it.
I put Instagram as the agenda item, and this should be quick. I think that, and I don't use Instagram, and I was looking into it a little bit. I think it's got to be like personal accounts. It can't be like a group account. Sure. But I was thinking of like social media and how we can increase our output and exposure. And I know you post, a lot of pictures to the crew page. And I was just wondering, I know I don't use Twitter, I don't use any of that crap, but I know a lot of people do. And I was going to suggest that, I don't know if it's that much different effort or more effort or what, if instead of posting your pictures to like the crew page when you're doing something really fucking cool down there, if you could post them to Instagram, and then people that like it, you know, share that shit like a million times, like when there's like the clean water projects and showing the little, you know, like African drinking water out of the fountain, you know.
Yeah, look, I got what you're talking about. What the issue here is, why I'm posting to the page, why I'm not posting right to the Facebook page, is because we've got this matrix of like social media infrastructure, and things just, we can't just be having like random shit just going off all over the place. The idea is that we had this, what we've been calling live content system, which is where updates from the road, people who are on tour, updates from where projects and stuff are happening, they go into a special update folder that we have. And then it has a protocol that's all laid out with it, with a SOP that has steps, so you know everything that needs to be done and who needs to do what part. And actually, Leon is being paid to manage the social media infrastructure. Okay, so the problem is nobody is any updates from anything in the United States. And all the stuff that was coming from Ecuador or from India or from out of the country that's going into the update folder. And you know, if you go to the Organizational Global ERF, if you go in there, you can see the updates folder in there. You can see the update protocol. You can see a folder called new, a folder called used. The new, if you open it up, it's got categories. It's got things like tour, macrame, you know, whatever. You know, like Eden's Rose Foundation. I'm sorry, Rosabelle Eden, Eden's Rose Organics. Like, it's got all the folders, right? So somebody needs to be putting the updates into that. I've been doing it, but then it needs to be reviewed for two reasons, and these are two important reasons. It needs to be reviewed for content, and it needs to be reviewed for grammar. So having just a grammar review is not good. You know, when the content gets looked over in its looked over phase, the grammar obviously is important, but we need somebody who is conscious of the movements of that project and conscious of what is going to be seen. So it's not just like a blind editing thing where they just go through and you know, put in periods and commas and shit. We want them to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't talk about this yet until it's more developed. Or they might say, hey, this needs to be expanded on a little bit. Or say like, Greg, I think you might have been in a little bit of a different headspace when you wrote this. You sound like a total egomaniac. Maybe I'm just going to rewrite it. Like, here, it's rewritten. You know what I mean? So we need somebody who can take a look at that stuff for me. I can do all this stuff, but it takes just as much time to update about it as it does to actually do it sometimes. And so, yeah, I don't have time to do all this shit twice. So I can throw out these like hammered down updates, but part of the update protocol system is that they're reviewed anyway for a couple of reasons. One, obviously we want the content that's going out to look good, and obviously we want it to be conducive towards making the effect that that we want it to have. But we also want it to be reviewed by somebody so that we have another set of eyes on it to help in the socialization of the themes that are being put out into the update system. Part of the SOP is it gets reviewed, then it goes to Leon. So let's say I've got something where we taught the macrame women. Okay, here's a real life event. We're teaching the women from the Early Childhood Development Program, the CNH program. We're teaching them how to do container garden and recuperate the ancestral traditional Montuvio raised bed garden that they have enough space for in urban areas like the Elba Gonzalez community. So the idea is I'm going to take the CNH women and teach them this agricultural thing. So this takes Rosabelle Eden and it takes Eden's Rose Organics. Both of those things are included in it. So if these women are also macrame women, because they're from the Elba and they probably are, now we've got the macrame, we've got ERO, we've got Rosabelle Eden. So Leon will post to each of the Rosabelle Eden Facebook site, the macrame Facebook site, the Eden's Rose Organics Facebook site and have those auto-link the content back to the websites that are like project specific, and that will all link back into the Eden's Rose Foundation website and back to the Eden's Rose Foundation Facebook page. So then we did one update, and Leon made sure that it got into a dozen different places, and then also part of the SOP is that it gets socialized on the crew page, so that the people who are working at shows, you know, they don't have somebody coming up to them that's been reviewing the websites or that stays like current with this stuff, who knows more than they do. You know, we don't want someone going through volunteering and going like, oh, so how's the gardening thing going with the macrame women? You know, and the volunteer be like, what garden thing? You know, like that. We need to be at least conscious of what's happening within the organization, and that should be happening before people outside the organization are getting hip to it. You know, so that's the live update system, the live content system that you talked about. My posts that I'm putting up on the crew page are to try to inspire movement towards the use of the live content system. I did it to frustrate you. You know, that the reason that you're asking about it is the exact reason why I put that thing up there. I want people to start to get involved with how this can massively the crew be part of updates.
I'm just writing notes as you talk. Like,
that's good.
As you're speaking, I'm thinking like I'm just thinking of being on tour and how busy it is, and like trying to check the Facebook page via, you know, my phone when we were on tour. And I'm just wondering if when, you know, this gets rolling, like this social media and the update thing, hopefully, you know, yesterday.
Look, here's what I'm going to say about texting. Anybody's phone has got internet. And if these people are working at the show and they don't have internet, they're going to get it as soon as they get done. Let's be honest. Every single person on this crew uses Facebook, you know, and they check the shit. And you got your notices set for send notices on the crew page, they'll come through. You know, do we want to create a second live content page that's a closed group page for us? No, I don't think so. But we definitely want to get it set up in the way it's supposed to. The reason, Dan, why people aren't is not because they don't have a signal. It's because the updates aren't being made and they're not being posted. If they were being posted, then it would go up on the crew page and it would get forwarded to everybody would see it, you know, then they'd be in the know. Actually, one of the protocol points on the SOP is that at least 2 people on the crew page, or maybe 3, I haven't seen it in a while, comment or give some kind of feedback about the update. So that way we know that at least somebody is seeing it, because we feel like, hey, if Dan comments and Dan saw it, then we've got a healthy chance that we've got like a 3-time distribution reach. So if Dan sees it, then Dan, Kara, Jess, and maybe Lindsay see it. You know, if Jody sees it, then maybe Jody and Gia and Ryan see it. You know, so like we just try to make it happen like that. What we need is, and I think we got Garrett on for it, but nothing's been solidified, for the content to be reviewed and for the content to be posted. And if that's happening, then I can start writing more content. I stopped because I was spending hours. I had Jasani has got like 15 updates in there. You know, I've got like 24 updates in there. They never made it on. They never went live. The point was with the system that within 3 days of an event occurring here or anywhere in a project or at a show, that our viewers, the people that support us, would know about it within 3 days. That way, if they have some feedback, if they say like, okay, like I go out, let's say I do this capacitation, or we decide that we're going to, I say, we've decided we're going to do community gardens. Boom. Now everybody knows. Within 3 days, people know, and they might say, hey, let's write up this project and see if we can get support from these organic seed companies. Or let's write this and see if my local high school wants to do a sister, you know, whatever the case may be, to give people an opportunity to get involved. How good is it going to help us for people to look at content that's a year old now? You know, it's like, it's almost a waste of time to catch us up, but I'll write every single update about every single activity that I have documented up until this point, just to get the bulwark of content in place. But the idea is not just so that our crew is informed, so that they know when they're talking to our supporters, or that our supporters are informed because our social media is updated. No, the idea is that it gives everybody in the crew and who's supporting us an avenue to get involved. Not just to be informed, but be able to give feedback and to be able to find ways that they can contribute. Dan, you got the hand up?
Yes. So I hear you, right?
Yeah.
I also, so a couple things, right? I know from personal experience, right, that like, dude, like teaching right now and coming into teaching where it's like first year, like my time out of school hours is so insane just from like the family and the baby and devoting time to them, as well as what a teacher needs to do outside of school hours, right? So I completely take personal responsibility for, like, you know, my failures at time to stay updated with your updates and what I can do for the foundation. You know, like, I just wish I had more time. Going back to wait, let me finish.
Yeah.
Going back, and then that's just me, like, I take some personal, because I believe in the foundation and it's just hard at times. Going back to what we can do to update people on tour, I also feel that Greg, with the best intention at hand, when I say this, is that some of your posts, because you're so devoted to it and passionate about it, are really, really detailed and really, really long, right? So if I'm on tour, okay, I check Facebook. As a teacher, I consider myself almost on tour of being, like, in the classroom, right? I'm just, like, always on. I'm always trying to, like, catch up and answer emails and shit like that.
Totally.
So if I see you post something, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I read the first paragraph and I'm like, I don't have time right now. Like, I have to find time to read this, right?
I think
so that's why. Wait, let me finish. Because that's why when we get this rolling, inshallah, like when we get this rolling, that there's someone updating and editing and proofreading. Yeah, I think so. You probably turn that off. I think it's just about ready. When we get it updated, that's why I feel that the update, and we can put this in a protocol, the update final protocol should be something gets put on the Facebook page. Something gets tweeted. Do we have a Twitter account? I don't know. I think we do.
Right. Look, Dan. Let me just say.
I think that's tweeted, and something gets texted to everyone on the crew. Something very simple and small, but enough information that if you're on tour and you get a text that says "Chocolate Project is rolling," right? We just sold some chocolate. So if I'm on tour and I didn't have time to read the 7-page, amazingly detailed Gregory Sheldon update, but I get a text that says the Chocolate Project is rolling, like it's moving, and someone comes in and asks about it, I have some up-to-date information instead of like...
Right. I understand your concern. Let me answer to it. I think I can do it quickly. Part of the update content, the live content system is, it's a 3-phase system. We have updates, we have posts, and we have flashes. So the idea is that I write this 7-page document. That 7-page document almost should never even make it to live content. That sits in our update folder. We always have that. That's why I give this encyclopedic, when I can, like, detailed thing. But that should never be on a website, because nobody's ever going to want to read a 7-page document about, like, the meeting with the macrame women, right? So the idea is I put the bulwark out. It goes there, the big one. Then somebody comes in, they make an update out of it, they make a post out of it, and they take the fine points out of it, like what you're calling like a text message sized version, and they make a flash out of it. Now, flash goes directly to the Facebook page before the update comes out. We do this for 2 reasons. One, just the reason that you said has already been calculated, and number 2, it gives people an incentive and starts to build the desire to find out. So, for example, I write this massive super update. It goes in. it gets chopped up into an update, a post, and a flash. In that moment, the flash goes out. Now, the link to the full update or the full post doesn't happen for 3 more days. But that first day, we get right off the jumpy jump. The chocolate project is rolling. Look out for chocolate, ERO, blah, blah, blah. You know, like a flash. So the flash is set up to draw interest. It's also set up to do like just a baseline socialization of what's happening, whether it be to draw out new interest or at least to inform in the small way in the minute, right? And draw in interest for the big way. But that's part of it, you know. And Leon, I'm sorry he's not here in the meeting, but you know, Leon co-designed this project with me, and you know, we tried to cover all the bases. Definitely in social media, if you can't say it in 10 seconds, if you can't illustrate it in 10 lines, people aren't going to want to read it. So these long updates, right, that I'm putting in my folder, they're not meant to go live. They're meant to give you guys everything that you need to put it in your words, to make it concise, to try to flash post.
We're done. Greg out of the NS. Greg was looking back because we had a sprinter that was like mostly empty.
No,
it was like, I really forgot to pick up
Ryan.
shit in and shit was wild.
I can hear somebody talking. Who's that?
Is that Ryan talking to us, or is
That's
that
Ryan talking.
is he talking to us or on the phone?
That's cool. I can mute him out. I can lower his mic. Look at this.
Brent.
Yeah. The guy just got muted. He had to behave himself. All right.
So this is my idea, right? And I know it's like an idea that's probably been brought up before. I feel that how like we would, because we don't have anyone, like I wish, how do I say it? I just feel like we need like a college or master's program, non-profit management, someone that's like, you know, like uber gung-ho about anything, or like a college English major, like journalism major that's like a copy editor at a college newspaper that wants like a little bit of resume builder, and we need like that person to like just edit the shit, you know what I mean? Like,
so this has totally been brought up, and it's not just for editing. At almost every point of process in the organization, we could use somebody like that. Young, full of energy, fresh, ready to go, needs it for school credit. But what we don't have is one single person who can be the manager of that. I'd almost like to throw it towards Mark. I know he's not logged in anymore, but let's see if he can get involved in that, because you know he's more you know, he's based in one location. I think he could really connect well with universities. You know, he's a local professional person. You might be able to help with that too. You know, I've created several times lists of positions that need to be filled by volunteers, and to see if we could find people that could fill those positions. But we need one person who can be responsible for managing of that initiative. Not that they have to do everything. They can be delegating, they can be organizing, they can be overseeing, but there's got to be one responsible person who can be the person that says, well, what do we need to do next? So we're looking for someone who's in charge of that. Now, I'm not even thinking you. I know that you're swamped. I'm thinking Mark. Maybe some of the new volunteer girls, but they still seem a little bit, they're not really grounded. You know, I think Mark would be great to go into local universities, in the area where the foundation is based, at least to begin with. So let's talk to Mark about running an intern program and put that on the to-do list. Other than that, I got to go into some other things. I didn't see on my Google Drive in the meetings folder, I didn't see the document for the list for the talking points or the schedule for the meeting for today.
The agenda?
The agenda was not present in my folder.
So this in the board meeting folder. I think it's the board meeting folder.
It's I'm in there. It's the meeting.
Go to board meeting agenda -minutes.
Board meetings out. Okay, board meeting agenda.
And that is a living document. So like, if you look, you'll see that actually like this was originally scheduled for May 27th, and I put 8:30 p.m. Instagram 5 minutes, Dan. So we're going to constantly add to this one document, and the new board meeting will go at the top. So everything's going to slowly get like descend down.
That's perfect because we can use this as well for our minutes at the end of the year. Okay, I did not realize where this document was. We're still kind of getting warmed up to this thing. So I'm sorry that I didn't put anything in there, but I've got a couple things that we need to talk about really, really briefly. And absolutely important stuff. I'll go right into it right now. Vend. So, this is being video recorded so any of our volunteers can watch about this stuff. When I was running the organization, doing tour and projects, I knew what was selling. I knew how much it was selling. I knew when it was selling. I knew how much it was selling for. And so I knew where, how, and when to reinvest the money in productions. I'm out of the game now. So the foundation is bigger than one van. We got 4 vans running at times. We got web sales happening. We have purchased the software to be able to maintain all of our sales records and schedules and inventory. And I need that to be able to do my job here. We got Jose. This guy is fucking crying on my shoulder because he's out of work. Why? Because we're not renewing our production. For 5 years, him and 4 generations of his family have been surviving off of working with the ERF with no end in sight.
You purchased the software, Greg, but you haven't purchased the hardware for the people that need to use the software to utilize. And that's one thing that I've noticed, that while I'm on the road from Mountain Jam to Bonnaroo, there's no hardware for the crew to use. So the crew's expected to either use their own computer or a computer that's at the house that's Jody's, that's broken, that only works while it's plugged in and it cannot be moved, bumped, or touched. If it is, it turns off. So I tried using Vend from Mountain Jam with Michelle's computer, but it's her personal computer, so she wanted to put it away when she went to sleep. So if I had the booth open at night, Michelle's computer was gone, the best thing I could do to remedy that situation was to write it down, then upload it to Vend later, which makes me do double the work.
Totally.
Free. And I'm not complaining about doing free work. I do work for the foundation because I believe in the foundation. I don't work for the foundation because I want a paycheck. If I did, I'd be working for some other foundation. But that's something that I do, because that's just me adding my input, saying like, great, you purchased the software, but we need the organization needs hardware that needs to be A, checked out, A, used, and B, or A, checked out, B, used, and C, people who are using it need to be held accountable for that software or that hardware while they're using it. And it doesn't need to be top of the line software. It just needs to be hardware that can be utilized like bottom of the barrel or iPads. Which
totally, this is something that we've talked about in the past. I totally agree with you. We definitely need to get hardware. The reason though that we purchased the Vend, the name of the system is Vend. The reason we purchased the Vend system is because anybody who is a volunteer at any point can log into it from their smartphone. Unfortunately, one of the finer points of the Vend is, we checked everything out before we went ahead with it to make sure that it would work on Android operating systems as well as Apple Macintosh system. But there's no application for Android, and it should be so anybody can log in at any time and use it, but it's not working out that way, and it looks like what we're going to need is some iPads or some tablets that can have one tablet be with each of the vehicles, and see if that's the way that can work. But the idea is so that this can happen at anywhere, at any time a sale is being made, that the volunteer can log in through their cell phone. And that, we wanted to limit infrastructure investment and maintenance issues. Definitely like the way you laid it out, an ABC thing saying like A, it needs to be tested, B, it needs to be put into use, and C, people need to be held accountable. We're having a really hard time with our accountability. with the people that are on the road. I think all these things need to be discussed individually, because every one of the points that you're bringing up here, it like necessitates a full dialogue. But suffice to say,
you have X number of vans, right, that go on the road. So each van should have a crew road kit, right? So, like, for example, each van needs a lockbox for money, right? So these vans need to be, at some point, pulled off the road, serviced, and put in X, Y, and Z number of, like, essentials. Those essentials being, like, a lockbox and or
Little Ryan, still there, buddy? All right, I'm sensing from Ryan that he's got like probably more than one very valid suggestion of things that we can put into use right now, things that need to be examined, and definitely things that need to be discussed. But I want to try to get Little Ryan online here to put those things into an order, use agenda, so that we can discuss these things not in an offhand manner, but really go through and investigate them. Little Ryan,
so we can get disconnected because I'm overheating because we're charging while driving.
Okay.
But what I was trying to say is each van would have its essentials. Just like when you go into a kitchen, every kitchen you work in, it has to have certain things in order, or else the health department doesn't allow it to open. So as an organization, we need to have these vans say, like, if you take a van to a show, then you need to go through this checklist. If it's not in the van and it's not on the checklist, then the van doesn't go on the road.
We have that checklist.
So that checklist should now start to include an iPad or some kind of device to track sales on, to take sales on, because I've noticed that, like, also, like, I was at Mountain Jam, I'm working with a person like Michelle who doesn't have a smartphone. Right now, I know you say to yourself, like, who doesn't have a smartphone these days, but some people don't have them. Some people can't afford it, and especially can't afford it when you work for the foundation, making peanuts. So, like, and another person's cell phone happened to be broken that weekend, Shannon's. So I got Shannon, myself, and Michelle working on my cell phone while I sleep, while I'm there, and then I've got to allow other people in the booth to be responsible for my cell phone. So if they leave it on the table and I feel uncomfortable with it, I put it back in my pocket. Then I go on a break and where'd you go? I missed a card sale because you were gone. And it's like this, like, say we had the iPods.
Okay. Again, we're losing Little Rye. Without the explanation, I understand what he's saying. We need the infrastructure. I totally agree. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be written up as a board proposal for expense. All the expense protocol is illustrated in our expense folder on the drive, which says how to propose an expense, the justification, the investigation, and then we have the subsequent proposal. So anybody can propose any expenditure at any time. So I definitely agree with the one Little Rye's proposing, but it needs to be proposed in the proper way, and it could be approved. And I definitely see this as a valid concern, and he's got some great ideas, things that we've discussed in the past, but just have lacked action to be put into place. Obviously, I'm not going to be sorting to see what place in the United States is selling the cheapest, electronic gear. This is going to either fall in Jody's category as National Project Director or some other volunteer if they feel like taking it up and calling upon themselves a responsibility to see that aspect through to the end. But all I can speak about is from my perspective here with the producers from the direct trade projects and the projects that we're doing in Ecuador and in India. We have no way of knowing what money needs to be invested in what type of production or what type of project. So I need more interplay with you guys in the States about where money goes, why it's going there, and that includes the things that we're producing, when, with whom, how much, and also the social work that we're involved in, what we're doing, when, and to what degree are we involved, and understanding the level of responsibility that we have both with the projects and the projects. The vend, I got the ball rolling there. I'm going to need you guys to pick it up to finish pushing it through. right now things here are a mess, and I'm doing the best that I can to get a shipment sent home in the next like 15 days. But we will not make it with our producers to the next production if we don't have some way to understand what's selling. Even to the point of saying through the Venn system, I can tell you weekly what has sold, or monthly what has sold, what wood carvings have sold, and we can reorder those same wood carvings. It helps our producers have a constant income, and it helps us be ahead of the curve so we're not caught with our pants down, not having inventory when we need it, and it keeps us from over-investing in inventory that the money could be better spent or spent more effectively in some other way. So I need you guys to be conscious of that. The Venn has some kinks that need to be worked out. I don't think even all the products are in there. I'm not sure what the prices are saying. I'm like pretty much completely hands off with the Venn because I'm not doing any selling. But that's something that Jody is going to need to either allocate, delegate about, or get involved with to handle herself. And that was one of the main points that I want to discuss today, that the effect that this is having on the lives of our producers is absolutely immense. I mean, it's really close to home, and being here with these people and understanding it, we really have a responsibility to manage things differently. And now that we've got the software in place, we need people to use it. And if that means that more investigation for infrastructure and development needs to happen, then that's what's got to happen. But that's going to have to be something that gets picked up back at home. I've got one other thing I want to talk about, but Dan, is there anything else that you wanted to throw out here, or little Ryan or anybody else that's involved in the meeting?
I don't think so. I know this is the shitty time to well, I know we just told the wood carvers that were canceling productions. I was just curious if we get it running again, or in the past, have we ever tried to have them carve like Om symbol wood carvings to be used if we got wholesale accounts with like yoga studios on a small scale?
Great. All right, let me address that real quickly. When I had the meeting with these guys, and I'd like to do a full report about the meeting and an update, but being that the update content system is not in place, it won't be able to reach all the places it needs to, but I will dedicate myself to create an update about that situation, get it at least on our crew page. What we talked about was a few different points. One was we could try to create different merchandise. Another point was, and this is going to be global, that we want to find other outlets for certain levels of our direct trade affiliations. For example, some people through direct trade were helping to recuperate ancestral cultures. Some people were helping to technify the process. We do capacity building to help them do what they already are doing better. They need is access to the market, and we're helping them by helping to provide access to the market. But us selling products is not the only way that as an organization we can facilitate market access. What we discussed with a couple of the producers was to create within Ecuador a governmentally recognized association of direct trade producers that through that official designation can get machines, supplies through different government ministries that support these kinds of micro-industry, artisanal production, goods, artisanal crafts, ancestral crafts, and we can open up a doorway through our efforts here for them to be able to sell things online at other places within Ecuador, to have a place within the market or malls, or to be able to have access to be able to export to Spain, Europe. You know, Ecuador is going worldwide. You know, we can do a lot more helping market access, focusing on our efforts here in Ecuador to augment what we're doing in terms of market access by helping to sell things in the States. We can see how fragile that is. So one of the major things that we keep coming back to with all this stuff is involvement of the crew, like you guys, feedback and involvement And the other point that kind of unifies those two aspects is involving with what it is that we're producing. So I love your idea about the Ohm wood carvings, but I'm willing to bet that you could rip off another dozen ideas without even taking time to consider it. You probably come up with a few ideas every time you sit down and take a shit, and I bet every other volunteer does too. I know I do. So it's like, man, it's too bad we couldn't just put watch heads in these bracelets, or too bad we couldn't do this, or too bad we couldn't do that. What I propose we do is create another folder or some point of our organizational infrastructure as an input point, a vessel where people can easily access to put in an organized way ideas for augmentation of the things that we're producing. There should be a way that without having to search and spend a bunch of time to figure out how to get to it, people can lay down current ideas for changes in production that can help keep us current with our market and help us, make more sales. Also, I think you, for example, Dan, would be a lot more stoked about trying to sell some Ohm wood carvings if you knew that we made them because it was an idea that you threw out. You know what I mean? I think it really starts to link everybody together in more of an integral way. I think your idea specifically about the Ohm wood carvings is spot on, but I think that how to manage this type of an idea is an infrastructural point that definitely needs to be addressed because there are more ideas and more people than that can contribute if we can find a way to make that happen. So I'm not sure who's going to be on that, but Dan, you're throwing these points in a document or something, right? So we can kick this out to find out who the responsible people are going to be for each thing, and if not, find responsible people?
Yeah, well, I've just been kind of taking notes in the group chat on the right side. Do you see that on your screen?
Here. Yeah. Okay.
And then tonight I'll leave this up, and I'll change these minutes probably into the board meeting agenda minutes that we have.
Okay.
And then try to send out an email to see who can be responsible for what. I feel bad, Greg. I feel like I gotta go. I gotta go break bread with some friends.
Well, that's good. I think we're good. Nobody else is on the meeting. It's just being recorded right now. But I think we need another meeting. I think we still need a meeting. Maybe we can try to do one in the next 15 days, like from now in 15, because we did lapse a bit. I think there's enough stuff to be talked about that it warrants it. If you can get if you can get the minutes together. I'm not sure what I can offer here. I think we need to talk to Jody, who's going to be home. Why don't you get those minutes together, and we can do like a 15 or a 20-minute, me, you, and Jody, you coming from the minutes perspective, Jody coming from national director, and me coming from international, just to see if we can do some fine-tuning on the process that we have here so that it is more organized, more efficient, and more inclusive. I think if we put a little bit of effort back into the system that we have going now with the meetings, we'll be able to see a lot more fruits through the involvement in the organization. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. How about instead of 15 days, dude, like I said, I was forgetful that the fucking meeting was tonight. So why don't we just stick to Tuesdays, and hopefully that becomes like ingrained in our memory. We belong to a crop share at a farm, and we pick up bi-weekly on Tuesday. So, if you don't have a problem with it, I would just say maybe we just make it 2 weeks from today.
On Tuesday, yeah, every other Tuesday.
It's July 1st will be the next one. I'll put it on my calendar.
Yep.
And we'll keep it at 7 p.m. with hopes that we're all here on time. The nice thing is that making it earlier, which I'm really grateful for, even though we started late, it's only 8:15 here right now, so I feel like I'm not stressed out about sleeping or putting the baby to sleep and shit like that.
Yeah. Dan, get this turned into minutes, and let's meet again and before the next meeting. Maybe you and I and Jody, even if it's not a live discussion, like if we create a Facebook thread where just between the three of us, so we can discuss about a few of the points and see if we can get this thing a little bit tighter. I see a lot of potential here, but we got to clean it up a little bit. So let's try to make the next one look real polished and work a lot better. Are you willing to get involved in that way?
Yes.
Okay, because then if you're at school and me and Jody are writing, you don't got to worry about it. When you get done, you can weigh in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay. All right, buddy. Well, this has been great. Let's keep trying. We'll get together. We'll make the next meeting more powerful. I think a couple of the points, if I can just drop some last-minute bombs, we need to make sure that after we decide on things in these meetings, that they're followed up on. So follow-up is something that we're going to want to include in this meeting process. So that might be a person, or it might be a responsibility. Another thing is, in the socialization for the meeting, we know that it's going to be happening every other Tuesday, but we should include in the protocol some established standardized way that's simple. Press a button, send a message out to a group on your Google Plus, which is the crew, so everybody gets reminded of it as an event that they're invited to, whether it's on Facebook and G Plus, one or the other or both. And the other thing is, I didn't know who was supposed to be running this meeting. But what the impression I was under was that it was going to be anybody except you because you did the last one.
Right.
So I think we need a little more socialization with that, passing of the ball. Just those are the last points I wanted to throw out there. It's great to see you again, bro. And we'll talk loosely over the next couple of weeks. And I think our next 2-week meeting is going to be a banging one.
Yes, and I'll be out of school. I'll feel like I'll have more time on my hands. I know hopefully over the summer we're going to get some of the stuff that was sent down to us. We already have 2 yoga studios that we're going to get some shit being sold in it.
Boom.
Like probably some of the Alibaba pants, some incense,
great.
Maybe even some macrame. Some of the India hand-bound journals,
Yep.
So whether that will sell quickly or slowly, we don't know. But
okay. Hey, look, Little Rye just jumped in, so I want to catch everybody up quick. Little Rye, we're finishing the meeting, but it was video recorded, so there was stuff we talked about things that you were saying. You guys can go back, and anybody who's on the crew, I'll post a link to the video so you guys can all watch this and see what we talked about and see the points that we ended on for each of the different aspects. There's a lot of things that you brought up that need to be socialized and need to be brought through, but I want to thank you for being involved. Anybody who's watching this at this point, Little Rye's just getting on the map, putting it in full time with stuff, and the ideas that he's rallying out are great. I want to thank Little Rye. Leon, who's not here at the meeting, I want to thank Leon especially. He put in double, triple overtime right now. He's going over the Lama Chapa website. He's setting things up so that our shopping carts from the websites also appear on the Facebook pages. This is just like labor love stuff, so I want to thank him. Dan, I want to thank you again for putting this meeting together last minute, even though it was clearly established anybody's responsibility but yours, and everybody else who couldn't make it. Please stay conscious and of that the meeting is going to happen, and we'll be posting a link to the agenda page where anybody who has a topic for discussion can post and request for time for different things to be addressed, and everybody can be involved in an organized kind of way. We need everybody's feedback. We need everybody's point of views to make this thing work. So when you guys see that stuff on the crew page, take advantage of it, get involved. That's how we can give you a voice. All right, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you in 15 days from today. We'll see you in 2 Tuesdays, which will be July 1st. Obviously, 14 days. If there's anything left open, anything that gets talked about this meeting can always be socialized and discussed on the crew page, and anything that's an expense initiative, an expense request, can always get put to the board proposals for the expenses. We got protocols in the folders on the drive for that. And we're all in contact. I love you guys. No, today's a big day. Today's the day Eaton took the great walk. So, it's a big day. It's a heavy day. And I'm sorry you guys can't all be involved in the video meeting right now, but hopefully you're watching this and just, sending out a real heart energy to all you guys. A lot of love for coming together and making this dream happen, keeping this thing alive, keeping Eden's essence alive in all the work that we do and the way that we do it. I know it makes a big difference, not only to me, to his family, the people that knew him and loved him, the people that are involved in his work, but everybody that we affect on a daily basis in any of these countries that we work, and all these people that we meet, thousands and thousands of people that come through our hands at festivals. We've really got an opportunity to sink it in and make a lasting effect. We're in a position to make such tremendous change, and we can do more than any big organization can because of the hard work that the volunteers are putting in. No other big organization is out there seeing face-to-face, making heart connections with one-on-one people in real time. Maybe we don't have a big advertising budget, but we got a lot of heart. So I just want to thank you guys, and we'll talk to you on the crew page, and we'll see you in 14. Thanks, Dan.
All right, bro. All right, guys.